We are now on the road to World Finals 21 for Stadium Championship Series Yellow. And last weekend, the Ragged Edge Rodeo came to Houston as it was the Monster Energy Show. Series points leader Cody Saucier has won 3 straight racing titles. Max D Fire, Gravedigger, Bakugan Dragonoid, El Toro Loco Ice, Whiplash, and more look to knock the beast back a bit. We're in Oakland for Stadium Championship Series Yellow. This is Monster Jam. Welcome to Monster Jam. I'm Scott Jordan. This is Great Clips Mohawk Warrior driver Bryce Kenny, and we're joined by our pit reporter Leslie Mears. Tonight, we finally catch up with Stadium Championship Series Yellow here in Oakland. And Bryce, so far it has been the Cody Saucier Show and Monster Energy seemingly unstoppable in racing.
Well, he has Scott Buteau and Tom Meents that are chipping away at that points lead that Cody has right now. It's going to be such an exciting night. Can't wait for these drivers to hit the track.
Stacked field here with this lineup right now. Let's join Leslie Mears down on the track for Stadium Championship Series Yellow.
Well, guys, Cody Saucier continues his dominance here with 2 second-place finishes, and that gives him a narrow 2-point lead over Max D and the overall point standings here in our event. But Max D and Tom Meents are performing better than ever yet this season that we've seen so far. And Tom is going last in freestyle. That gives him a great opportunity to see the track, gain those extra points, and this might be his breakout night where he gets those extra points he needs.
Thank you, Leslie. Sounds kind of funny, Bryce, when you talk about Tom Meents and Max D Fire, who just won his first Stadium Championship Series last year. He's done so much in his incredible career, but to only have 1 Stadium Championship Series win, now he's trying for number 2 on the road to World Finals 21.
Well, that is an amazing stat as well. And when you think about all of Tom's efforts and what he brings to the table, it's going to be such an exciting year, and I expect him to just battle every single time he's out there on the track. But you can't count out Charlie Pauken. He's somebody that's had a rough couple of years, the last 2 years or so, and I think he's ready to really leave his mark on this tour.
And we kick off freestyle with the young man out of Itasca, Illinois. This is Camden Murphy in Bakugan Dragonoid, and what a year Camden Murphy had in 2019. Was all over the place and had an amazing World Finals. Let's hear from Camden Murphy.
This year, with the 30-second rule and being able to have to finish 30 seconds to get a score, honestly, you kind of have to be even a little smarter and a little bit more patient to at least get a first couple hits in. And now, with that rule, I'm gonna say, you know what, once the 30-second hits, I'm going for a backflip, because then we gotta go big, we gotta go crazy.
Camden already has kind of started off conservatively, as he had mentioned he was going to do, but his version of being conservative is kind of hitting things probably more straighter than he normally would, I think.
And he's going to line up early for the backflip. Here goes Bakugan Dragonoid. Monster Energy backflip ramp gets a little short, but he can bounce off the tires and save it. And he is now full steam ahead in Bakugan Dragonoid. He had one of the most dynamite freestyle runs when you go back to Orlando last year at World Finals 20. Finished in second in both freestyle and high jump. A lot of people in Monster Jam thought he should have won, and he's sky wheeling off the ramp, and look at the save for Camden Murphy.
Well, it didn't take him long at all to turn up the volume here on this freestyle run, and look at the attitude that he's bringing in his style of driving right after that backflip. And there's no better feeling as a driver than after you get the truck back on all 4 wheels after a backflip. You just want to let it all hang out.
And look at this, another dynamite save as he completely flips it over and lands it. Camden Murphy off to a start here for the fans in Oakland, and he is not done yet, sending it off the ramp, skies it, and look at this save here. Bryce gonna try to land it again.
This guy, I mean, he's getting really great rolls, but he's understanding what to throw at this track. And a 9.353, that is a massive score to start off this freestyle competition.
That's how you start off freestyle, the original super glue glued to the action replay. There was the sky wheelie as he landed on the front 2 tires, saved it again, just save after save after save. And now, if you're Richie Yasko and Zombie, you have to follow Camden Murphy in Bakugan Dragonoid. Let's go down to Leslie Mears.
While Richie Yatsko may be a new face to some, he is not unfamiliar to monster trucks. He's a second-generation driver, and he spent some time as a crew member as well. He did get his feet wet with Monster Jam last fall, and he's really enjoying his time on Stadium Championship Series Yellow this year.
Richie Yatsko and Zombie made an appearance for Stadium Championship Series Red as well, driving for J.R. McNeil. And Exterminator now back with Natural Disaster Racing, riding for Tim Mente. But Richie Yatsko, one of the young up-and-coming superstars here in Monster Jam.
Well, it looks to me that he might be having some issues with that front locker on that Zombie Monster Jam truck. It seems like it's coming unlocked, and what that's doing is kind of inhibiting him from getting around the track and getting the truck turned around and getting to that next hit. And that's why I think he's going probably a little bit deeper in those turns than he wants to. But this is a pretty conservative run, but I think he's trying to feel out the truck and get it working to his benefit, and that might be why he's being a little conservative.
The second donut now for Richie Yatsko and Zombie. Doesn't get a lot more conservative than that, but we've seen some solid donuts in Freestyle get a decent score in the mid-sevens. Now we've got smoke coming out of Zombie as he continues. Now a third donut attempt for Zombie.
Well, again, I think it's because he's realizing, hey, the front end's just not very happy, but now that motor is not happy. You see the smoke coming from it. It is definitely heating up. And 4.531, that's probably pretty appropriate for that run. Maybe a little bit low, but following Camden Murphy's just absolute chaos and carnage that he left out on the track, I'm not overly surprised at that score.
Chaos, carnage, the competitive cauldron, that's all coming up next as we get to Monster Jam Racing from Oakland. This portion of Monster Jam is brought to you by Spin Master. Real trucks, real action, Monster Jam. Welcome back to Oakland, Alameda County Coliseum, the home of the Oakland Athletics. This is Monster Jam Stadium Championship Series Yellow. And earlier tonight, it was all about Monster Jam Racing. Cody Saucier and Monster Energy has won 3 straight. For more on this track, let's go down to Leslie Mears.
Stadium Championship Series Yellow presents the oldest form of racing in Monster Jam, Chicago-style racing. Now, it has been modified just a little bit where they're going to start in the center of the track. There's only 2 hits in the entire run, and there's lots and lots of drifting. So the drivers who have the most experience drifting those turns and staying on the throttle the entire time are the ones that are going to go rounds.
I love the old school feel of the Chicago-style track, and nobody loves old school more than Tom Meents. He is a 6-time World Finals racing champion. Tonight would be his night in the racing win, round 1 against Stephen Thompson and Earthshaker.
Well, you heard Leslie mention that the drivers that were comfortable with holding the throttle a little bit longer and really getting a lot of speed around this Chicago-style track are going to do better on this type of track, and that is Tom Meents to a T. Look how close he's getting to those turn piles, getting around this track, but he's also still going wide in that turn as well, and you saw that time of 20.479 in round 1. That's a really good start for Tom Meents.
And round 2 would be a rematch of last weekend in Houston, where Camden Murphy got his first career win against Tom Meents. Tonight, a different result as that wide-open Chicago-style track. Just look how deep that is, and Tom Meents still taking the turns tight with all that room, and that will be the difference against Bakugan Dragonoid.
Well, it looks like Camden just got a little bit too far out on that final turn, and he just was not able to get it to stick. I think the outside of that lane, that final turn right there, is just very, very slick, and a lot of drivers had a pretty difficult time in that final turn tonight.
Tom Meents has never lost to John Gordon in Bad Company, and he would still not have a loss against him after our semifinal matchup, as Tom Meents and Max D. Fire continue to roll through this racing bracket. Again, the incredible drift turn, keeping the acceleration going, crossing the finish line, and a closer race than many would have expected. But John Gordon and Bad Company is no slouch in racing, and Tom Meents and Max D advances to the finals.
Well, that was such a close battle, and it was a photo finish, but I tell you what, if Tom Meents had control heading into tonight of who he would want to face up in the finals with, it would be with Cody Saucier, because he wants that opportunity to take out the reigning champ, the guy that's won the last 3 races, and this was a battle for the ages.
And Max D. Fire again, very even coming around that final turn as you see the wide drift for Cody Saucier, a tighter drift on 2 wheels for Tom Meents and Max D. Fire, a photo finish. but at the end of the night, it would be the professor of Monster Jam University unseating the racing winner of the last 3 weekends. Look at that incredible finish, and Tom Meents Max D Fire is your racing winner.
Well, thankfully, we have the timing system that we have in Monster Jam for racing. It's the same timing system that IndyCar, NASCAR, Supercross uses. It lets us be very precise on who wins these competitions. And Tom Meents coming out victorious. I know it's a huge upset for Cody, but Cody's got plenty of round wins heading his way the rest of the season, I'm sure.
Also, if you look at Scott Buteau, going to drop a few points in the standings as well. He came in second right now. Let's hear from our racing winner, Tom Meents Max D Fire.
So, Tom, for you, this is kind of like the turnaround tonight. You break the streak of Cody Saucier of 3 consecutive wins, and it looks like you're back to your old racing form.
It is. It was awesome. It was a great time. The crew got this truck working perfect tonight. We really laid it out on that last corner. I didn't know if we could do it, but it didn't matter. We have to stop his racing streak. Tonight we did it. That's what matters. Man, our season's going well now. This is the one way you can fix it is you got to knock the big dog down. We did it.
Now we get back to Monster Jam Freestyle with the 2016 Monster Jam Rookie of the Year out of Watsonville, California. This is Rosalie Raymer in Wildflower. And I love this truck. It's our first look here this season of Rosalie and her dad, Kelvin Raymer, and Time Flies. But these rock climbing trucks, these low center of gravity, they're great for freestyle. And she started to really come into her own. Let's hear from Rosalie.
You know, I'm going into it a little bit more technically. A lot of those big air moves going out early, especially with the new 30-second rule, you know, they're not making the cut. So going out there, seeing what I can take advantage of to get a little bit more technical with my moves, try and slow down while I'm in the truck while still keeping the pace of the run going.
I think that's really smart from Rosalie to take that approach, and it's interesting to see the evolution that the drivers' mindsets are taking, because all of us are thinking to ourselves, hey, we want to come out, we want to start freestyle strong, but maybe there's a little bit more emphasis on filling that 120-second time frame than there might have been in the past, thanks to that 30-second rule.
And the score to beat remaining, Bakugan Dragonoid. Camden Murphy started us off with a great run. Look at that wheelie up on the back 2 wheels for Rosalie Raymer in Wildflower. She is capable of some incredible saves. She gets this thing cross-threading throughout these obstacles on the freestyle course, and it's no telling what can come out of Wildflower. She is a former Monster Jam Extreme Air Award winner, so she can get this thing up there in the sky just like that.
Man.
A corkscrew off the backflip ramp and a save for Wildflower.
That was really interesting. I don't know why the truck kind of made that movement. That was a little bit of a hard hit for her on the sidewalls of those BKT tires, but thankfully it came back on all 4. This is a great run from Rosalie. She's getting all the
another
elements.
save on the nose wheelie, Bryce.
Oh, yes. Look at that. Oh, bring it back around. Oh, it looks like maybe the truck may have shut off, but what a great run. She was getting massive air. She did exactly what she wanted to do. It was technical. It had those wow moments, massive backflip, an 8.942. Actually, I think that's a little bit low.
And that is a candidate for St. Jude's save of the night, getting it up on the nose and then just could not quite get the hang on the back 2 BKT tires to save it again. In our first look in 2020 of Brian Mays in Fast Metal, a teammate of John Gordon in Bad Company. I love the look of this truck, and Brian Mays, a former crew chief for Lee O'Donnell and VP Racing Fuel's mad scientist.
Well, Brian Mays understands how these trucks should operate, and so that I'm so excited for Brian to get this opportunity to go out there and show what he can do, because he understands what the trucks need to do mechanically, and he understands how they should feel as well. And so he's such a nice guy too. Brian's one of those guys, he's easy to root for. I think that every time that I've seen him, he comes right up, says hello, shakes everybody's hand, and he's someone that I hope picks this up really, really quickly and has a lot of wins in his future.
He gets the big air from Fast Metal up onto the freestyle pod. Brian Mays is a guy, as you mentioned, he's one of the nicest guys in Monster Jam, but that's not going to win you any trophies. However, on the same side, he's a guy that loves to be around the trucks. He gets to the building before anybody else, goes into the pits, just looks at what everybody's doing, sees the trucks, analyzes it, and he's had a taste of that gold. As I mentioned, he was a crew chief for VP Racing Fuel's the mad scientist for that World Finals Freestyle Championship, and a premature ending to the run for Fast Metal.
Well, 4.153 score for Brian. I think that is a little bit low, but hopefully he can keep turning up the volume as the season goes along in that fast metal truck.
And we are just getting started here. More freestyle on the way. Come on back to Oakland. You're watching Monster Jam. This is Monster Jam at Oakland, Alameda County Coliseum. We are here for Stadium Championship Series Yellow. Bryce Kenny, Leslie Mears, and Scott Jordan on the call for you tonight. What an amazing night it has been. We are well in the middle of Monster Jam Freestyle. Let's take you right back to it with a kid out of Menifee, California. This is Eric Swanson in Obsessed.
I had a chance to run with Eric Swanson last season on our tour, and again, one of the nicest guys in Monster Jam. He's easy to root for, but he has a really technical style too. A huge step-up hit for his start on freestyle. That's a great start to the run. But you notice how deep he's going in the corners as well, getting this turnaround. I think it's just because the track is a little bit slick.
And I love the look of this truck, the retro square body for Eric Swanson in Obsessed. And we got a stoppie here in freestyle and a nose wheelie.
Well, it's great to watch Eric throw some technical elements into his freestyle run like that, but listen to his throttle rhythm. These big, giant 12,000-pound Monster Jam trucks, you're more in control when you're on the throttle, and so that's why he's able to get around this track, and he's getting some really good variety, but it's also allowing him to line up to things straight so that he can fill that 120-second clock.
Obsessed spinning it back around, coming to the other side, getting up over a little jammer ramp here. Obsessed trying to find something else to do here. He's got the big air, the technical aspects as you mentioned. So what is next now for Eric Swanson? Again, deep in the corner. Looks like he's just trying to find something to do. And here he goes up over the race ramp. And a nice job hitting the other side of the step up. But look at the back wheel just coming right off.
Well, that breakage is obviously going to end his run for the night. But it was a good run for him overall. I think that the middle part of his freestyle was the best. And I think that a lot of these drivers are getting kind of sucked into the marbles of the turns, if you will, and it's kind of messing them up. It's slowing them down because it's so slick on that outside. But a 7.448 is going to put him in third place, and that's a pretty decent score for Eric. We would have loved to have seen a backflip or something like that, but really great elements from Eric and expecting big things from him.
Right now we get a look at Kelvin Raymer, and time flies with a wheelie. This guy is the wheelie master. There used to be a competition in stadiums with the wheelies, and he would just lights out every single night win, including a Stadium Wheelie of the Year and Stadium Save of the Year back in 2017.
What's interesting as well, so far, it looks like his shocks to me are a little bit soft. I wonder how it feels to him. You can kind of tell he might be a little bit conservative on some of these hits, and I think it might just be the shocks aren't cooperating with him. But someone like Kelvin, he's been doing this for long enough. He understands still how to go out there and make something of the freestyle, even if the truck isn't 100%. He's still going really deep. I mean, if it's me out there driving, I'm going to try to stay a little bit tight to the piles and all of the race lanes because I don't want to go that deep because of how slick it is on the outside.
Kelvin Raymer built this truck from the ground up, also built his daughter's truck, Wildflower, as well. An accomplished technician, always in the back, always working on something. But right now it is time to show you what he does in Time Flies. A little donut attempt, not much there. So Kelvin Raymer in Time Flies with a lot of room here, now up onto the freestyle pad, and back down comes Time Flies. He will spin it back around and try to make something else happen. Kelvin Raymer just looking for the next jump. There's a little bit of jump, not getting much air here, Bryce.
Well, and he's also, you kind of notice he's chipping away at the dirt itself on the ramps. And so if I'm a driver watching this run and watching some of the ramps kind of break away a little bit, that's going to affect the next couple of trucks, and maybe some of these drivers are changing their game plan on what ramps to hit now. You know, which ones do they want to get that massive air from? But a couple of these ramps obviously going to still allow them to get plenty of air. Nice slap wheelie from Kelvin. Again, he's making something out of a situation where maybe the truck isn't 100%.
Kelvin Raymer gets a nice nose wheelie, save off that ramp, backing it up, going to come back out for more. Still time remaining on the clock for Kelvin Raymer, and time flies. 15 years behind the wheel of a Monster Jam truck, and that is going to do it for his run. 6.492, fourth place, as we take a look at the big air on the original Super Glue glued to the action replay. And there is the slap wheelie. I love that move. He's so good at that. And now we move to Ryan Disharoon out of Del Mar, Maryland, in Saigon Shaker.
Well, Ryan Disharoon is one of those guys, again, he's so easy to cheer for. But Leslie Mears, you got a chance to catch up with Ryan. What do you have to say going into tonight?
Well, guys, Ryan Disharoon is really excited about the new design of the Saigon Shaker that he's bringing out with us this year. And so he made a couple adjustments to add stability, like the full sheet metal cradle. Also, he changed out and put in plastic sway bar blocks, and that's going to allow the truck to move more freely. The final change that he made was the angle of the shocks, and we know that the Saigon Shaker loves big air, so when it lands, it's going to be a little bit softer, recover faster, and be able to move right on to the next one.
Well, theoretically, he's supposed to land softer. There was nothing about that last landing we saw, but he is going to send it right now. And Saigon Shaker with some big air. What a move that was, and I think his run is now done in Monster Jam Freestyle.
Well, the hit before, when he had that massive step-up move, and that back right tire, the shocks extended all the way, and I think it just left that wheel vulnerable and probably caused some damage. Ryan Disharoon is one of those drivers that probably felt it right away and knew he might have only had 1 or 2 hits left, and he made it count. But an 8.184, that's a pretty decent score, but I know Ryan's got a lot left to give the rest of this season.
There's another look at that incredible jump on the original Super Glue glued to the action replay. Now let's take a look at your BKT Freestyle Top 5. Kicking us off tonight was Bakugan Dragonoid, and what a run it was. Save after save after save has Camden Murphy in the top spot. 9.353. It seems untouchable. We'll find out a little bit later, but up next, we'll take you back to the Great Clip Skills Challenge. More Monster Jam on the way from Oakland. Welcome back to Monster Jam. You're watching Stadium Championship Series Yellow from Oakland Alameda County Coliseum. We're going to take you back earlier tonight to the Great Clip Skills Challenge. Now, the last 2 weeks, that's been your winner right there, Camden Murphy in Bakugan Dragonoid. So we'll take a look at the highlights. Here is Tom Mintz in Max D Fire, the reigning World Finals champion in the Great Clips 2-Wheel Skills Challenge.
Well, and you see why, because Tom Mintz is so controlled on 2 wheels, and he walks this all the way out to the end of the track, and this is something that he's passionate about doing. How far can I take this Max D Fire truck? He goes, he bumps the dumpster, and unfortunately, it just kind of gives him a little bit of a weird angle, and he ends up going on his roof.
And that's what we call a dumpster fire, Bryce.
That's right. Well, Eric Swanson is obsessed. He is the king of nose wheelies as well. He understands how to put it on the front end. I had to watch this all season long last year, and he got a lot of skills challenge wins last year because of that, but he's so controlled as well in a lot of these moonwalks and nose wheelies, and right there kind of getting a popper off of the race lane into a nose wheelie.
Eric Swanson obsessed, finishing in 4th as you take a look at the control on that second attempt nose wheelie for Obsessed. 8.665, nice score for Eric Swanson. We move on to our top 3 in this competition. Charlie Pauken getting the big air into a slap wheelie for Gravedigger. Nice move, continuing the extension and a little bit of a save there on 2 wheels for Gravedigger.
Well, because that roller's sitting in the middle of the track as well, we're going to see something from Cody Saucier in a minute that he kind of maximized that opportunity. But Charlie Pauken with a nice nose wheelie and a moonwalk up that face and almost put it back on the rear tires on top of that step up. That was a really nice move.
As you mentioned, Cody Saucier off the side of the ramp with the bicycle and then hits the back 2 tires on that obstacle. And second hit, a sky wheelie. This is a slap wheelie attempt for him and gets it straight back up with a little jump in his step into a stoppie. So a combo move you don't see a whole lot in the Great Clip Skills Challenge.
Well, the fact that Cody was able to grab the brake but not too aggressively to damage the truck is remarkable. It's a great job from Cody. But Camden Murphy ultimately won the Great Clip Skills Challenge with a 9.396 and walking it all the way up that step-up ramp, and he's almost there. He's going to get to the point where he's going to get up on the nose on the highest point on that track, but a nice popper into a nose wheelie for his second attempt as well. And this is one of those drivers that could probably leave it up on the nose all night long if he had the opportunity.
And this is his 3rd win in a row in this competition, and as long as you continue to do well in this competition, you are going to be in the points race no matter what. He's a great racer, he's great at freestyle, but if he continues dominating the Great Clip Skills Challenge, Camden Murphy at the end of the day in Bakugan Dragonoid will be right there in the point standings.
Well, and you notice the 2 scores there are the same for Camden and Cody, but because Camden laid down that 9.396 first, it is the requirement of the next drivers to beat that score. So therefore, Camden Murphy ultimately took home the victory.
Let's hear from our Skills Challenge winner, Camden Murphy, Bakugan Dragonoid.
So Camden, tonight, really hanging out there on those. You actually tied with Cody Saucier, but since you went first, you get the win here tonight. What kind of lift does this give to your team after that mishap in racing?
It's absolutely huge. Our luck here in 2020 there's been no luck for us. I mean, we broke almost every single event out here this year in the worst possible times. We're so far down in points. We need this. My crew chief, John Fitchett, worked so hard. I mean, in racing, heck, the steering pump sheared clean off the back of the engine. Come on. I mean, there's nothing you can really control, so this is a huge lift for us.
Dominance continuing for Camden Murphy and Bakugan Dragonoid in the Great Clip Skills Challenge. And now Stephen Thompson and Earthshaker out of Hagerstown, Maryland.
Man, Stephen Thompson, such a great driver. Had a chance to run with him all of last year, and he always just gives such a great performance. It seems like he just maximizes what the truck is going to give him that night. So far, he's kind of hitting stuff pretty straight, but even right here, he's kind of starting to cross-thread a little bit early in this freestyle run, and that's something that we haven't seen a lot of, drivers taking a lot of chances in that first 30 seconds.
And when you talk about the history of Stephen Thompson, two historic names come to mind. Got to start crewing for Mike Vaughters and Vaughters Motorsports, now working for Tim Mente Natural Disaster Racing. So he's been a part of two historic racing teams on the independent scene, and now behind the wheel of Earthshaker, one of the newer and more popular trucks in Monster Jam.
I think one of the things that the drivers are trying to work on, nice stop, look at this, good moment, good technical moment that he's throwing in his freestyle run overall. But the thing that these drivers are getting used to with this track layout is the fact that it's kind of spread out, and the drivers are spending a lot of time on the floor, kind of going in circles to find that next freestyle hit. And so it's the drivers that are maximizing the ground speed, the momentum, that are getting that flow. But I think that's what a lot of drivers are struggling with, getting a nice flow to this freestyle run.
So consistent run for Stephen Thompson and Earthshaker getting the big air. There is a look at the stoppie. As you mentioned, nice technical move in the middle of a hard-hitting freestyle run full of big air as he comes down a little awkward on the ramp. And now we go to Brianna Mahan in Whiplash, and she has won quite a few freestyles in her young career.
Well, something switched in Brianna's mind about probably around World Finals, is probably because she finished third in our freestyle competition. I mean, she had a great run there in Orlando, and I think that her confidence skyrocketed because I watched her ability all summer long last year, going into the fall, and then some of the winter shows, and already this year, you can tell she's comfortable in that Whiplash truck. She's willing to kind of let it all hang out there in these freestyle runs, and I think that her best is yet to come in Monster Jam.
And she carried that momentum all the way through to the All-Star Challenge, winning the first ever Best Trick competition and helping Team Ice dominate. And you, of course, Bryce, were part of the losing team, Team Fire. Not to rehash bad memories,
thanks,
but Brianna
Scott.
Mahan whipped your butt there.
Well, she earned it as well because she did a great job, and that whole team did as well. However, next time, my team's going to come out victorious, I can tell you that. But it's so much fun watching Brianna's momentum, but listen to her throttle rhythm. She's going deep in these turns as well, so she can hit things pretty straight. Nice air there.
There's a good save on the nose because she flipped it around.
Yeah,
yes!
Very good. And she noticed that her momentum was kind of carrying her over. You saw her kind of jab the brakes and go ahead and finish off that front roll. So really great control from Brianna.
And now she's going to start cross-threading through the ramps, making something happen out of nothing. We love using that term, but that's part of Monster Jam. You just hit anything you can. You come off the side, you come off the front, and you see what happens. A slap wheelie for Brianna Mahan. She has made 5 World Finals appearances, and none more impressive than last year, as you mentioned, that third-place finish in freestyle where she just had back-to-back saves. It was an incredible run. She's trying to continue that here, and a nice slap wheelie down the end of that jump as she climbs over the jammer. Smoke coming out of Whiplash, starting to overheat a little bit. We know that's not going to stop Brianna Mahan.
Well, here she goes. She's lining up for the Monster Energy backflip ramp. A lot of speed up to it.
And she's got it. She's going to try to overextend it and cannot save it.
Well, she went really fast up to that backflip container and ultimately had a lot of throttle into it. And with these new trench box containers that we're hitting for backflips, it's going to send you over and rotate the truck if you're not careful. But a 9.298, really great score and a really great run overall for Whiplash.
She had a freestyle win in Houston, so now second in freestyle tonight in Oakland, just behind Camden Murphy in Bakugan Dragonoid. There's another look at your BKT freestyle top 5. No change at the top of the leaderboard. Bakugan Dragonoid in front. Whiplash cannot quite unseat him. Wildflower in third. Saigon, Shaker, and Obsessed rounding out your top 5. We still got a long way to go. We want you to suit up and get ready for another wild freestyle ride. Gravedigger coming up here in Oakland. This portion of Monster Jam is brought to you by Great Clips, home of the online check-in app. Great Clips, it's gonna be great. This is Monster Jam Stadium Championship Series Yellow from Oakland Alameda County Coliseum. A look at Charlie Pauken getting inside Gravedigger, ready for freestyle. It's been a rough night so far for Scott Buteau at El Toro Loco Ice. For more on the issues of the Monster Jam truck, let's send it back to Leslie Mears.
It's a broken rocker arm for El Toro Loco, and while it's a small part, it plays a vital role here. The rocker arm connects to the camshaft, and then as that cam moves the rocker up and down, it opens and closes the valve, allowing in fuel and air. So if this rocker arm malfunctions or breaks, that cylinder's not getting the fuel and air it needs to fire and create power.
Scott Buteau came into tonight in second in the series points standings. Had a rough night now on the clock. But first, let's get to Charlie Pauken in Gravedigger. Bryce, here's a former World Finals freestyle champion.
Well, Charlie Pauken has earned those freestyle wins for a good reason. It's because he's one of the best when he gets behind the wheel of that Gravedigger machine. And he's somebody that can understand the track and the truck probably quicker than most. And we had a chance to get his thoughts before the freestyle competition.
I took out a champagne, which actually took out the front housing. Then from there, it went to the rear housing. So basically, you're replacing both front and rear axles. Then you're dealing with fuel injection pump, drive. It's like one thing after another. I just can't quite get the gremlins out. I think we've got a machine now to do that. This weekend, I'm out to rock and roll.
And Charlie Pauken now coming to a stop here in freestyle, gets it fired up again and back on the track. Finishing third last year, competing on Stadium Championship Series 3 behind Todd LeDuc and John Zimmer, coming into tonight in 6th overall. But there's a sky wheelie off the step up, and he lands it perfectly, grazing that right tire off the ramp. So Charlie Pauken now starting to feel good about freestyle right here in Oakland.
Well, I really like the way that Charlie goes about hitting these faces, and he knows when to turn it loose. You can see that Gravedigger hood is kind of, he's trying to almost throw it off. It just won't go away though. And it's actually stuck in front of the windshield. This is where it counts, where he's able to make something out of a difficult situation. And he goes to the backflip.
He can't even see out of the windshield. And it's showtime for Charlie Pauken. I don't know how he even saw the Monster Energy backflip ramp.
He fixes the hood position by doing a backflip.
And a step up and a nose wheelie save for Pauken.
Come on, bring it around. Bring it around. Oh, that was a great run. And again, a difficult situation. And a 9.486 taking over the lead from Camden Murphy. Charlie Pauken, great run, my man.
Charlie Pauken coming in blind to the Monster Energy backflip ramp, and all you can do is throw your hands up in the air. So Camden Murphy now the lead no longer his, and here is Scott Buteau, El Toro Loco Ice, El Capitan from Team Ice at the All-Star Challenge.
Well, Scott loves to go big, so I'll be curious to see just how he handles this 30-second rule, and he goes huge! His second hit in freestyle.
Oh, he's got to save this. Come on, Scott.
Oh, the back right tire blew in that landing. Unfortunately, that is going to end his run. He's not going to get a score. I know Scott Buteau is very frustrated right now.
And the rough night continues. He was off to his best start in years coming into tonight, and now not even going to get a score, so he will drop to 11th place in Monster Jam Freestyle. There is the Roxor Recovery team on the Roxor Recovery vehicle. They're going to get El Toro Loco Ice upright and safely off the track. And here's a guy, John Gordon in Bad Company, who had an incredible finish in 2019, off to a great start so far in 2020. Let's hear from John Gordon.
I think Oakland's going to be really good to us because that track right out there, it's something that I kind of grew up with. I grew up in the mud racing scene, so loose is fast to me, and that track is a loose, sandy texture. And me being later on in the run, I'm third from last. So that stuff's going to be knocked down. It's going to be a wide open, high-paced freestyle. And personally, that's my favorite. I like carrying speed. I like carrying momentum. And then whatever happens, happens. And we're just going to take the punches and roll with them. And hopefully we come out on top.
John Gordon, another former crew chief turned driver, and step-up ramp for Bad Company. Great hit, trying to land it a little soft there. Trying to get back up over top the ramp, get some more air there. But I saw him in Kansas City last year where he put on the freestyle run of his career. He's carried that into 2020, now so consistent and in the top 5 in overall points.
I love what he said about the dirt as well, because in something that's kind of loose like this, where you can carry that speed and that momentum around the track when you're on the flat part before you hit these ramps, you want to make that throttle beg for mercy. And John Gordon, so far in this run, you can hear that throttle rhythm. You can hear that he's getting the truck to work for him. He's going really deep, trying to get the truck turned around. And so far, he's got some pretty decent hits. We need to see that massive air, throw that backflip in there, and just let it all hang out if he's going to take the lead.
And mark my words, it is just a matter of time before John Gordon and Bad Company gets a freestyle win as the Monster Energy backflip ramp, and he lands it. Bad Company getting a great backflip, but I think his time is coming now as he came into tonight in the top 5 in the season points standings. And look at the air from John Gordon and Bad Company.
Well, and he was right as well, because the ramps are starting to lay over a little bit, and it didn't give him quite as much pop as he wanted, but that backflip was perfect on that trench box that we're hitting. That's so aggressive. That's the type of approach that we all need to be taking into those backflips going forward.
We had the same leader from the beginning of freestyle until just a few moments ago. Now it is Charlie Pauken in Gravedigger with a 9.486 sitting on top the leaderboard. But the series points leader is coming up, and a 12-time World Finals champion. Come on back for Monster Jam Freestyle. Welcome back to Oakland, California for the conclusion of Monster Jam Freestyle. Charlie Pauken with the run of the night in Gravedigger, now watching and waiting for 2 more superstars to take to the track. Right now, let's go to the Monster Energy action of the week. We're going to stick with Stadium Championship Series Yellow, take it back to Houston with Cody Saucier as he gets up over the freestyle pod and then back down with a stoppie for Cody Saucier in Monster Energy and the moonwalk back up.
He almost gets it all the way up that pile as well. And this was in the middle of his freestyle run. He had just hit an awesome backflip off that Monster Energy backflip ramp. It was a really great moment for the fans.
Let's get back to tonight's action. Here is your current series points leader, Cody Saucier in Monster Energy, trying to win freestyle here tonight. Charlie Pauken with a great run and a great score. We'll find out right now if Cody Saucier can step up clutch and get this freestyle win. He could win the overall event championship if he can make it happen. Let's hear from Cody Saucier in Monster Energy.
Proud to be leading the pack here, representing Monster Energy. We're going into the 3rd weekend. Leading the points, it feels great. We could be up in the ranks higher, yeah, but kudos to Monster Jam for coming up with a set of rules for legitimate point series finally. And we just got to play by the rules. We've had some incidences where we've gone off the track, and it's a 5-point penalty for doing such a thing. So I've backed it up twice now by doing so. I should have 10 more points than I do have now, but it is what it is, and I'll take it. I'm the one in the seat doing it, so we just got to try that much more harder this weekend with the doubleheader here in Oakland.
So let's touch on that. I don't think anybody in Monster Jam is more affected by these new rules than Cody Saucier, yet he still maintains a series points lead.
But it sounds like Cody was convincing himself that it was a good rule to have. But anytime you lose 10 points in a serious points battle like this tour is going to have all season long, it's going to be very frustrating. But Cody is up to the challenge. He understands how these trucks operate. You can hear the attitude that he brings in his driving style and the speed that he has on the ground. That's why he gets so many great moments and an awesome nose wheel here.
Spinning it around.
He spins it, man. You don't see that very often at all. Spins it right around and faces a ramp, goes to a next jump. That's a great, great moment for Cody.
And he was another ace in the hole for Scott Buteau and Team Ice at the All-Star Challenge, winning Saturday Night Racing. And now again, continuing that momentum from 2019. Here's the Monster Energy backflip ramp, a little short, and tried to save it, but could not get the traction on the front 2 tires to get back over.
Well, it looks like he almost saved the truck. Maybe the front locker came unlocked, wasn't able to get enough of that throttle hit to bring it on all 4s. But Cody Saucier, 7.331, puts him in 8th place with 1 truck left.
And that 8th place going to open up some room for the other superstars. Camden Murphy, Bakugan Dragonoid, sitting 2nd, the BKT Freestyle Top 5. He won the Skills Challenge earlier. Max D Fire won Racing, still yet to go. So we can see some more room here in the series point standings. But Gravedigger remains your leader with 1 truck left to go. And it's 12-time World Finals champion Tom Mintz and Max D Fire.
Well, some huge air to start that freestyle run for Tom Mintz. I would expect nothing less. He loves kind of starting off those runs on the ragged edge.
And this was the night Tom Mintz and Max D Fire knew he had to win. He's doing it so far. Let's hear from the 12-time world champion.
I've been a little bit conservative, at times maybe too conservative for the first 30 seconds. Once we flip the switch, we go even harder. But when that minute comes, I don't think anybody's been better for a minute of freestyle. We've been awesome.
All right, Tom Mitz, Max D Fire now trying to turn it up a little bit. Came into tonight third in the point standings. I mentioned has a chance now to really come back with some points and try to take that series points lead. And he almost rolls it there, but saves it on the backside of that ramp.
Well, he's got a lot of aggression, too, in the motor. You can kind of hear the RPM skyrocketing. I wonder if he lost second gear. It sounds like he might be trying to hit this with first.
And the backflip for Max D, and he gets
early.
it.
Yeah, perfect landing as well. Very early in his freestyle run. That had to be about 30 seconds in, so he's got plenty of time to go out there and pull off that wow moment. He's not wasting any time going out there and cross-threading these jumps.
He's got a freestyle win in Houston for him. Would love to make it too, but he's got to beat Gravedigger. It's not the greatest rivalry in motorsports for a reason. Can Max D Fire trump Charlie Pauken in Gravedigger as the seconds continue to tear off the clock? And some big air from Max D Fire, bounces the landing, saves it again, and he is still going.
Well, you can tell too, if he did lose second gear, that's why his ground speed is a little bit slower, because he has to approach the ramps totally differently. But Tom Mintz, he's been doing this for so long, he knows how to still get a really great ragged edge freestyle run regardless of what gear he's got left.
Tom Mintz now Max D Fire starting to try to get it in the groove, but he is going to stop short, and that is going to do it. So he may, if he had a little more time and able to get his full run in, he may have won it. Instead, he's got to settle for fourth place in freestyle. You take a look at the backflip and the big air on the original super glue glued to the action replay. That means one thing, your freestyle winner tonight, Bryce, is Charlie Pauken and Gravedigger.
Well, great job to that Gravedigger team. And for Tom Mintz to have a 9.128 score and still finish fourth, that shows you just how tough the competition was tonight here in Oakland in freestyle. But I know Camden Murphy is disappointed that he didn't quite get that other win as well. He won the skills challenge, could get the freestyle win, but a huge win for Charlie Pauken. Hopefully that sets him on the right course the rest of the season.
He becomes the fifth freestyle winner in as many events. Let's go down to the track with Leslie Mears and Charlie Pauken.
So Charlie, tonight you get a well-deserved and well-needed freestyle victory for your team. You know, was there a point, you know, when you were getting all topsy-turvy that you didn't think you were going to be able to bring it back around and continue that run?
Actually, yeah, when the hood actually started flying up into my face, I really couldn't see everything going on. I'm thinking, I'm not really sure if this is the best move I can make here and if this thing will pull it off. Hey, it held in there. The digger, black and green wrecking machine held in. We got the backflip. We got her going. We ran till she couldn't run no more.
14 points going to Charlie Pauken at Gravedigger, but the overall event point standings tell a different story, with Pauken finishing in third. Your winner tonight in his first overall event championship of the season by 1 point is Tom Mintz and Max D Fire in second. Camden Murphy in Bakugan Dragonoid, but what a night for Tom Mintz, his entire team. Max D Fire showing you he's not done yet, trying to get another Stadium Championship Series win. Let's rejoin Leslie.
So Tom, you told me that this could be the weekend for you to turn it around and that your goal was to take home this overall event championship.
It was. We got to get our season going, you know. Unfortunately, I'm not very happy with the freestyle scoring. You fans are the ones that carry the judging. You have a cell phone. You need to use it and judge the best one tonight. Because I guarantee you, there's no way I deserve fourth place.
You did get that fourth place, but it was enough for the overall. So how does this, you know, kind of give you a boost? You're back to racing form. You get the overall, and now you're heading into a bunch of double headers down the stretch. And so how does this boost your team?
It does boost our confidence. Definitely our team. Josh Dyke, Wesley Atkins, you know, of course, Steve Lashinsky. But, you know, more importantly, it's about you amazing fans. I mean, getting out there, we love to tear it up. We love to do a great job. We go out there each and every week and wreck perfectly good, exactly Monster Jam race trucks. We tear them up.
The St. Jude Save of the Night belongs to Camden Murphy, Bakugan Dragonoid. To join the movement and partner with us, you can donate. Text Monster Jam to 785-833. And there was the save, completely rolling it over and saving it, and back up on all four BKT tires. Bryce taking a look at the season point standings. Cody Saucier in Monster Energy retains the lead, but Tom Mintz and Max D Fire now moving up to second.
Well, it's going to be a really tight battle the rest of the season. And Charlie Pauken and Camden Murphy, that top five in points, man, that's a really really, really great group of drivers.
And John Gordon in 6th, just out of that top 5. I really like him to shoot up as well. It's going to be a very competitive series in Stadium Championship Series Yellow. In a lineup of young superstars at the end of the night, it's veteran 12-time World Finals champion Tom Meents and Max D. Fire winning his first event championship of 2020.
Well, Tom Meents is known as the professor of Monster Jam for a reason, and he took the competition to school tonight. But there are so many talented drivers on this tour. It's going to be such an exciting rest of the season.
Cody Saucier Monster Energy retains a very small margin in the points lead. To find out if he stays in the power rankings and to get your tickets to World Finals, head to monsterjam.com. For Bryce Kenny, Leslie Mears, I'm Scott Jordan. Good night from Oakland.